Hello everyone, welcome back to the Rayo Moon Oracle. I'm Rayo, and today we are doing our autumn harvest reading. So for those that are in the Northern Hemisphere, we are now in the autumn season. That happened on September 22nd, and we've had a lot of energy coming up here with eclipses and this change in seasons, all this transitionary energy taking place. So with this reading, we're specifically asking, what are we harvesting now with this autumn season, right? We're coming into the autumn season, but at this time of years when we gather all the fruits of our labor through the summer, all the planting, all the growth that has taken place that we've been working on for this entire time frame here, right? And harvesting it all together in preparation for the winter season coming up. So we're really asking what we've harvested, what has come to fruition now, what are we taking in with us as we prep for this winter season going through and then into the spring in the following year. Okay, so we will have 5 different groups today with 5 different stones to represent each group. And then we have our reading broken down with 4 different decks today. So when you are ready, go ahead and go to the pick a group portion of this reading, see what stone you may connect to, what you feel called to, and then join me in your reading when you are ready. Okay, so I'll see you over there. Bye. Hello, welcome to the pick a group portion of this reading. So we have 5 different crystals here to pick from, so I guess it could be called a pick a crystal video as well. So group number 1 here, this is our black moonstone. Let's get close. Can even see some of the reflection of the background videos. There we go, we'll do that. So this is our black moonstone. Lots of cool inclusions. Got some iridescent on there. This is group number 1. Group number 2 is our bloodstone. So this is a very, very dark bloodstone piece, but we got just like a little bit of red right there. You can also see the camera reflected in this one as well. This is our bloodstone, group number 2. Group number 3 is the Shiva Lingam piece. Really good big piece, lots of cool banding. So this is group number 3. Group number 4 is the Merlinite. One of my favorite stones. This is one of my favorite in my collection. This is group number 4, Merlinite. And then finally group number 5, the Satyrium. This is group number 5, Satyrium. So pause the video if you need to, if you need more time to pick which group is yours, whichever stone you may be drawn to. We're focusing again on autumn harvest, what we're harvesting for this autumn season here as we're going into the season of autumn with our fall equinox here in the Northern Hemisphere. So again, pause the video if you need to. When you are ready, join me down below through your timestamps. The timestamps will be in the description box, okay? And I'll see you in your group. See you over there. Bye. Hello, group number 1, the Black Moonstone group. So Black Moonstone here, Moonstone focuses on our inner world. The moon talks about our subconscious, our feelings, our emotions, those deeper parts of ourselves. And Black Moonstone here specifically is focusing more on those shadow aspects, right? Shadow isn't necessarily bad. It's not like the quote unquote evil parts of ourselves or anything like that. No. The shadow aspects of ourselves are things that powers, abilities, things that we are scared of potentially that can bring us a lot of strength if we let it. They're hidden parts of ourselves that we maybe don't have the capacity or didn't have the capacity to handle at the time, the things that were scary or traumatic in our past, things that we need to bring up to the surface and get a better look at. So all this ties in with our Black Moonstone here. Very, very gorgeous piece. This is a very heavy, solid piece in my collection. So this is group number 1 here. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick our card here from Santa Muerte first, seeing what's going on, what we are releasing here with our autumn season, what are we harvesting. We're going to ask what lesson this is a part of with our Soul's Journey card. We're going to get some more clarification through the Halloween Oracle here, which focuses more specifically on this idea of harvest, this going into winter, which is kind of like our quote unquote death time of season and everything. Of course, fall is when Halloween also takes place. So this connection to the underworld and this underworld energy. So what we need to harvest and let die in order to bring about new things in the future. And with that newness, we're going to see what's coming for us, coming to us with our alchemy deck here. Alchemy talking about change and progression and transformation. So how all this energy is harvested and taken account for, and how all that energy will progress and change into the future, into our next season with winter and then spring after, at least in the Northern Hemisphere. So let us get started. Let's get our first card here, and we'll kind of go deck by deck, okay? Get these guys out of the way for now. And we'll start with Santa Muerte here. Okay. What are these? I kind of turned around, aren't we? Hold on. Yeah, like half and half. Interesting. Okay. There we go. That looks good. Okay, Santa Muerte. Hello, hello. Santa Muerte, for group number 1 here, our Black Moonstone group. What are they harvesting in this equinox season, in this fall season? What is their autumn harvest? What has come to fruition? What are they harvesting? Way too many cards. One card, please. What is group number 1? Okay, let's focus in here. There. Okay. Santa Muerte for group number 1, the Black Moonstone group. What are they harvesting? What is their autumn's harvest? Thank you. Take that card, but that is the Magician in the reverse. And then we've also got the Ace of Cups, so tying kind of into that energy, but we'll leave that to be. Okay. So for you, group number 1, what it feels like with our Magician in reverse, right? The Magician talks about our power, our capacity to change things, to make things be the way that we want them to be, to bring power to the situation, right? We're talking about Black Moonstone here, your stone that's picking the group. And I was talking, as I was describing the stone, just kind of intuitively about power, right? Aspects of ourselves that maybe we are scared of, that we have this ability that we find kind of scary. It's almost too powerful, right? Where we're like, okay, I don't know how to handle this in the correct way, so we're just going to shove it down, far down, and keep it hidden from everybody, and keep it hidden even from ourselves, right? This power and ability that we have. So coming into this autumn season here with our autumn harvest and our Magician energy in the reverse, we're feeling that lack of power. We know we have this capacity, we know we have this ability, and we are trying to figure out how to move forward, how to progress the situation, how to bring power and what's the word I want? Capability. Bring our capacity back up into this Magician card in the upright here. Let me just double check my notes on this card to make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, really a focus on the lack of power we have right now, and it's coming in the reverse. I don't, at the moment, feel like there's a lesson of like trickery, or maybe if it's like a trickery itself, right? Like we're lying to ourselves about our capacity, about our abilities. So let's get the next card out here and see what we have. I want to know what lesson this is a part of now. I think that's going to be important to kind of get us clarification on this situation. Okay. Soul's Journey cards. For group number 1 here, the Black Moonstone group. What are they harvesting in the fall? What does this black magician mean? Black magician, wow. That's sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh! This magician in reverse mean with black moonstone. What lesson is this a part of? What lesson are we as group number 1 learning? Almost. What lesson is group number 1 working through? Processing. Okay, come on. In regards to Black Moonstone, in regards to the Magician in Reverse, what is group number 1 learning? What lesson is this a part of? Thank you. Okay. Blame. Ooh. I accept responsibility for my well-being. So, yes, tying into this idea of power again, right? There's something that happened in the past that we blame ourselves for, that we think we did wrong or we hurt others for. Maybe that is the case, but blame is an interesting lesson to be progressing through and talking about, taking responsibility for your well-being, right? In the description off the bat, it says it's so easy to give away the power to transform your life. Certainly there have been people along your path who have shaped you into who you are today, but you are solely responsible for your own happiness. Here, just so we can read with me if you want here. The ego could be a very fragile thing, and if it comes under fire, the first instinct is to blame an outside force. Victim consciousness weakens the connection that you have to your soul's source. This mindset says, I don't have the power inside me to break free because someone else's power is stronger. This is an illusion. When you believe that someone else is responsible for your problems, that belief is the problem. Personal responsibility can empower you to change your reality. Lasting transformation always begins on the inside and works its way out. There is a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason is valid and unavoidable. An excuse is an attempt to shift the blame. So far, group number 1, what we are harvesting here, what we are coming to a realization, we're harvesting knowledge is what it feels like. We're harvesting a understanding of what the situation is, what is actually taking place here, okay? Because we're dealing with this lesson of blame and shifting the responsibility for the situation, right? Of course, there are things that happen beyond our control. There is a lot that happens in life that does happen to us, but there is a lot that maybe is happening for us. And there are things that are a part of our reality because of the energy we've been putting out, right? So recognizing where the responsibility for this actually lies is going to be what's important. And this is the power that is being given away with this magician in reverse, right? Again, we're talking about what is happening subconsciously, what's happening in the shadow of the moon here with this black moonstone energy. And you picked this group for a reason, right? So the energy that is hidden, that we were missing a piece, right? We've been lacking of some understanding here of the power that we have and the power that we are giving away, and thinking that it is through someone else's power over us, right? So let's pull out our Halloween oracle now. Halloween oracle, can you give us some more clarification for group number 1, the Black Moonstone, in regards to the Magician in Reverse and the lesson of blame? Can you give us more? Thank you. Ghost regrets. Look at that kind of color tie in too with our blame card, this kind of yellowy, orangey energy. Wow, that coloring is very similar. I like talking about color symbolism in the cards, because I find, at least in my readings, I don't know for other readers' readings, but in my readings, cards that tie in with the same coloring really show to me the connection between everything here, right? So ghost talks about regrets, right? A ghost in just common Halloween lore, right, stays behind because they have a regret about their life. Either they died in some traumatic way, so they're staying behind because of the trauma of the death, or a lot of the time the ghosts, quote unquote, can't move on and go to the afterlife because they have some regret about their life, right? So I like the little poems each of these cards have. So let's read the one for ghost here. This is the description if anybody is curious. But it says, for the poem, like smoke rising from the ashes and mist from the sea, the dead they are watching me, they have come to haunt me. So group number one, the last little paragraph here, as I was double checking on your reading here. And so you have the full description here. I like what it says. It says, should ghosts come gliding into your life during divination, it may indicate that you have some regrets to let go of. Holding grudges or regrets is burdensome work, and it weighs us down eventually. By taking action to free ourselves of these old burdens, we clear the way for more rightful and wise action for the future. We can begin to live life fully if we let go of what was and step into new possibilities, right? So the ghost energy really tying in with the blame here, right? So the regrets of not taking action when we feel like we needed to, right? Giving away our power and coming to understand that the situation, of course, wasn't going to play out like we wanted to, right? So coming to accept the responsibility for ourselves and our own well-being with this blame lesson that we're learning, so that way we can actually fully let go of this regret that we have with the ghost, right? We're not moving around, walking around like a ghost in our own life, right? The feeling here is the same thing day to day, not moving, progressing forward. Like we feel like we're just powerless in the situation, right? Where we can't do anything. But the reality is that we do have this power, we do have this capacity to change things, but it takes the courage, and it takes the confidence and the knowledge to know what's actually taking place here, that it's okay to have regrets. It's okay that we didn't do things right the first time around, but it's time to take responsibility for that now and know that we are responsible for our own lives, and we do have the power to make things different, okay? We can always make a different choice. It may not feel that way sometimes in the day-to-day of life, and life does bog us down for sure, but there is this deep realization here. It feels like what's taking place, group number one, is we are harvesting knowledge. We're harvesting the understanding that, yes, we can have regrets. Yes, we can blame ourselves even and everything, but it's ultimately up to us to let go of these regrets, take responsibility, and know that we have power in this situation, right? So coming into this realization of the knowledge. Finally, though, let's see, with the knowledge that we're accumulating here, let's get our last card from the Alchemy deck and see what changes and progresses with this situation now that we have this knowledge behind us, right? We've harvested this information. That's the autumn harvest that's come out with this reading, group number one, is we've harvested this knowing, we've harvested this knowledge that we have this power, we have this capacity, so we can let go of the regret, we can take the proper action and let go of the blame. And now let's see how we move on and move through this, okay? Alchemy deck for group number one, the Black Moonstone group. How does the situation change and progress now that we have the knowledge with the Magician reverse, blame as our lesson, in the Ghost of Regret? How does the situation change and progress? How does this situation transform? How does this situation change and transform? Okay. I feel like there's two here. Let's see. Okay. Pretty on the nose. How funny. Of course, we're going into winter after fall, and then after fall, after winter, is spring. But let's get a little too on the nose. If you make it come out again, sure, Alchemy, but let's Let's get clear, okay? For group number 1 here, Black Moonstone. Yes, we know the seasons are changing, but what do they need to know, or what is changing? What's relevant here for group number 1 for Peach Moonstone, or Black Moonstone? What's important for them to know? How does the situation change and progress? Wise salt. Okay, I'll take that. How funny. You can never say as a tarot, oracle, divination card reader that the cards don't have personality or that they don't have a sense of humor, right? Okay, so your last card to come out here, group number 1, is Wise Salt. Wise Salt is the knowledge, right? It is a confirmation of the energy and the aspect that we are learning this lesson here, that we do have knowledge, that we are wiser and smarter, and this is why we're going to be able to take our power back and change the situation for the better here. So the key words for Wise Salt here, let me find it in the book. One page too far. Nope. It's XV. There we go. So keywords for Wise Salt are wisdom, grit, perseverance. Wise Salt is the sacred ingredient of preservation. In due time and with due experience, the alchemist slowly develops these granules of wisdom that can someday be passed to another. Salt retains, preserves, and absorbs. It brings complexity to flavors and grit to slippery roads, such as the magic of salt. Someone who carries Wise Salt is immediately recognizable. Their words hold meaning, their stories are deep and true. They have wisdom that cannot be obtained by other means than decades of pain and pleasure. You may experience Wise Salt through the elders of the community. When this card appears, know that everything you're going through will be of use down the line. Alchemically, you are being brined. Preserve what you can, let go of the rest, and lean heavily on your elders. To go deeper, it says read about the salt marches in India, and then to ponder the taste of tears. So finally, with Wise Salt here, group number 1, we come back full circle around, right, with our Magician card. And knowing that the situations that we have gone through, even this situation here that feels like a stall, that feels like a situation maybe in your head that shouldn't have happened, it does bring us knowledge in the long run, right? It does give us power. It does give us more information and capacity to do things differently and better in the long run, right? So what's interesting to me, how these two cards have similar coloring, right? And then this rainbow that's popping up here, showing up with a lot of the colors in our Magician card, right? The bottom card kind of coloring being this like magenta pinky colors, the robes of our Magician here, the red on the top really present in the cloth, and we see our other colors here, right? We see the green, we see the yellow, we see the blue, all these colors kind of present in this card. And present with the rainbow of the Wise Salt, getting a clearer picture, right? This idea kind of a prism and then splitting the rainbow and seeing things in a new way, in a new perspective. So I think what's important here for you, group number 1, to realize and to gather here with your autumn harvest reading is to know that the lessons and the things you've gone through are important. They may not have been pleasant. They may not have been fun. You may feel regretful about them, but don't. In the long run, it did teach you something. It did give you more knowledge. It did give you more power, and you won't do things the same way again now. Now, as you're coming full circle back around again, you have a much clearer understanding of who you are about this and who you are, what's going on in the situation, what you can do, what your power is. And you can actually take this energy and use it as you progress through into the future, right? We did get the Ace of Cups came out random first, kind of with this Magician card in the reverse. So this new opportunity coming through for you. And then with the winter and spring, these next seasons past fall here, that give you a lot more that show the progression of time and show that what you're harvesting now, right? And I think of salt being the preserver, used to preserve things, right? In olden times, they would salt the meat really, really heavily, right? And that would give it a nice coat and protection, so that would last. It would last through the winter and into spring. It would give them the fuel and resources needed to make it through some of those tough seasons. And not to say that there are tough things coming in the future or anything like that, but to say that you now have the capacity to harvest and use and gather everything you've learned in order to change your future, right? In order to bring power back into your situation and move forward in a complete and whole way, and in a way that you will down the line realize needed to happen, but you won't have any of this blame or regret going on in the future as well, okay? So very interesting reading here for you, group number 1, my Black Moonstone group. It's funny that the stone ties so heavily in. I mean, not funny as in like doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense, of course, but just that initial first impression, intuitional wise for a Black Moonstone, those subconscious things, that subconscious power I was talking about being very, very prevalent through the entire reading here. So but that is all I have for you, group number 1, my Black Moonstone group. Your autumn harvest is a harvesting, a gathering of knowledge and knowing that you know better now and that you can move forward with power and no regret in the future, that you're taking responsibility for yourself and using your knowledge to the fullest, okay? So I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in space and time. Please subscribe for more videos and check out my page for maybe a personal reading if you're so interested. But have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello, group number 2, the Bloodstone group. So we got this beautiful piece of bloodstone here. So focus with bloodstone being on this like deep heart energy. Also a lot of like grounding in the heart energy and courage to follow our heart and to make clear choices, right? So bloodstone being a very grounded, like determined energy, being able to make the choices we want to make, follow our heart, move through life and our situations with clarity of mind and purpose, because we are listening to ourselves at a deeper level here. So that is our bloodstone energy. We'll pop it up here for the minute, and then we'll get it back in frame once we start getting our cards out. But we'll pull our first card from Santa Muerte here, figuring out what you are harvesting here in autumn, in our autumn season, what the autumn harvest is, what that focus is. We're going to see with our Soul's Journey card what lesson this is a part of, what it's important to know in regards to that. We'll get some more clarification from the Halloween Oracle, and then finish up with how this energy is transitioning and changing through the seasons with our Alchemy deck over here. So let us get started now with Santa Muerte. Get these ones out of our way for now. And let's see. Okay. Okay. Santa Muerte for group number 2, the Bloodstone group. What are they harvesting in autumn? What has come to completion? What is the harvest that they have now with the autumn season? For group number 2, the Bloodstone group. Whoa. It's way too many cards. But that is the 8 of Cups. So keep that in mind. One card, please. One card, please. One card, please. There we go. Thank you. I don't even know what card this is yet. Okay. Yeah. 2 of Wands. Okay. So this is our 2 of Wands card here. A lot of red energy, a lot of, again, passion, right? I'm already getting drawn to the thought of the this red veining. Where is it at? There, right there, you can kind of see. this red veining on our bloodstone card here. We're talking about bloodstone red, and we're talking about the heart. What more can we tie in with the heart than blood and blood pumping through us, right? So, Two of Wands. So with this Two of Wands specifically, there is this opposing dynamic, right? We feel kind of the butting heads here. But Two of Wands also really talks about this passion, this idea coming through, right? With the Wands in general, we're talking about passion, we're talking about our fire, our creativity, our zest for life, so to speak, right? So with our Two of Wands energy, what we feel like we're harvesting here with the fall season coming in, with our equinox, this new energy we're moving into with the fall season in the Northern Hemisphere, it feels like we're harvesting an idea, it feels like I'm like consolidating power almost, right? I'm getting like all this fire and this drive and this determination all like smashed in together, getting it all like pushed in and really like consolidated so it shines like brighter and brighter. Like I feel like I'm like adding matter to a star almost, and it feels like it's like getting like tighter and tighter, all the gravity's pulling it in tighter and tighter to itself, so then it shines brighter and brighter and brighter, right? So with our Two of Wands energy though, it feels like there is a bit of a duality here, right? Where it's like the brighter it shines, the hotter it burns, and therefore it's a little bit more dangerous potentially. It has a little bit more safety concerns, is a weird way to put it, but the way it came out. So let's see what lesson this is part of. Get some more clarity here. And let's get our bloodstone back in the frame here. So interesting card to start with for our autumn harvest energy for you, group number 2. So let's get our soul's journey cards now. Let's see what is next here. What is this a part of? Because I think that'll help us a lot. Okay. Soul's Journey cards for group number 2, the Bloodstone group, with Two of Wands out. What lesson is this a part of? What are they harvesting? What lesson is this a part of? What lesson is this a part of? It's 2. Pride and courage, though. Definitely tying in with our Bloodstone so far. Okay. What lesson is group number 2 harvesting, working through in this season? Blame. That was group number 1, though, so I'm not going to take that. Okay, clear. Hold on. Clear. With the Two of Wands out, and this group being the Bloodstone group, what is group number 2 harvesting with autumn season, the autumn season? What is group number 2 harvesting? Thank you. Pride. Okay, there we go. That was kind of what I thought was going to happen. So I love myself and I see myself in everyone. I like the way the cards almost match here, right? Just the kind of the coloring. This feels it feels like it ties in with the energy of the Santa Muerte too. But let's get a little bit more information about this Pride card from the guidebook. Get those out of the way. So Pride talks about, I love myself and I see myself in everyone. So in case anybody wanted to pause and read themselves, but I will read it out loud. It says you need to take the time to honor and acknowledge who you are and what your soul has accomplished with your life thus far. You should look at your past soul choices and be mindful of how through your positive actions, compassion, and understanding you have made a better life for yourself and others. How have you changed the world in some little way? How have you shared insights with others? Reflect on what you have mastered. You should never underappreciate or underestimate yourself or your accomplishments. Now is the time for you to remember how brave you are and have been throughout your journey. Celebration is required. Humans tend to spend too much of their energy and time on negative emotions or what they have not done. This card signifies that you should take rightful ownership of who you are and how you have shared your unique light with the world. It may also be a perfect time for you to look around and acknowledge those other souls who have also accomplished many great things and who need to be reminded of them. Ooh, interesting. Okay. So with the Two of Wands here, right, and our pride energy, this determination, right, this idea of passion and creativity and these ideas coming out of us, right? We are really we're harvesting this energy, listening to our heart, listening to our desires, who we are and what we want to be. And the lesson here of pride coming out is to be proud of that situation, be proud of who we are, be proud of what we've accomplished and what we can create here, okay? This creation energy coming out of the Two of Wands, right? There's a lot of movement, a lot of progress, a lot of things that can change and happen with this energy. And we're realizing that we're coming into this autumn harvest energy of like, okay, we've gathered all this knowledge, we've gathered all this energy, we've gathered all this creativity. Like we have this brilliant idea, right? I'm seeing that star shining really, really brightly. And being proud of that, being proud of who we are, what we've accomplished, what we can accomplish, and what is in store for us as we keep moving forward, right? So with our autumn harvest reading here for you, group number 2, with this bloodstone energy and the energy of this group in particular, it's like, hey, I'm doing good things. I'm being very courageous. I'm working very hard. And I need to be proud of myself for that. I have not been proud of myself. I do not give myself the pat on the back that's needed sometimes. Other people, we know that other people have other things in their life going on, right? So they can't do it for us. And it's nice when we get recognized, but we can give ourselves our own laurels here as well. We can be like, Jesus, I've did a lot. I've been doing so much. You can step back and give yourself that pat on the back in this case. Okay, group number 2 with this bloodstone energy, it's like, hey, no, have that courage to toot your own horn, have that courage to walk your own walk and be present, be seen, be visible, right? This red color coming through with the Two of Wands card is very bright and very noticed, right? You think of that like red sports car on the highway that gathers all that attention, that is noticed. And taking pride in what you accomplished, right? It's okay to be like, it's okay to show off, not quite the word, but it's okay to be confident in who you are, right? Let's get some more clarification now. Our Halloween oracle. I'm curious what's going to come out for this one. Okay. Okay. Halloween oracle for group number 2, the bloodstone group, with two wands out and the lesson of pride out. What clarification or what more can you offer to this group? What other information does group number 2 need? Too many cards, but that was which cards? Okay. One card, please. What does group 2 need to know? What else can we offer to group number 2 here? Okay. Eternal love. Love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. Interesting. Seems a little out of left field to start with, but let's see what else is present here. So there's a lot of little cute poems with this deck specifically that I like reading out. But for those that want to pause and read themselves. Okay, yep, just the one page. Nice. Okay. So the little poem says, when the body leaves us and our souls are above, our possessions no longer, nothing remains but the entwining of love. So it says all of us are the product of a millennia of love. Our parents, our ancestors by blood and ritual all have in some ways created the DNA that we use throughout our bodies. Love, in fact, powers life and death. When most of us first encounter death in our lives, we experience grieving too, and in some ways that feeling could be described as the absence of love and the absence of that person or being. But the kind of love that is often shared between family members, friends, and lovers, separated only by physical death, is the kind that poets wax lyrically about, and that is truly eternal and transcends death. Should you choose this card, you are being reminded that love is the most powerful force in the universe. It is more powerful than death itself. Love lingers. It leaves its own legacy, and we should be aware of this every day that we live. For those that are ready for and desiring of a partner, it also indicates that significant love is close at hand and to be ready to open up to this new experience. Separate little message there for those who might resonate with it. Definitely some new energy coming out here with the equinox and the eclipse seasons here starting, right? But what this is telling me in regards to this reading specifically and what we're harvesting here, right, is confidence more than anything, right? And that is a type of eternal love. That is a self-love here, right? Loving ourselves enough and loving ourselves to be confident, to take pride in who we are and what we've done, what we are becoming, what we have learned, and how that progresses through life and how that progresses through a situation, right? I was talking earlier with the bloodstone about the heart specifically and all this red, and we see this heart energy in this card specifically as well, right? The things that last through space and time, the things that are the driving forces in our life, right? There are things we'll be remembered for in our life, and after we move on to the next realm, world, whatever you may believe in. And what we leave behind, what we want to be remembered for, and what you want to take pride in and who you are and what is passionate and a driving force in your life is what's important here, right? Moving through life in a way that is tied into this energy of love and passion and creativity, right? It is this driving force throughout all of our lives and even through space and time as well, right? We're talking about the love of generations, the love that poets write about, that Shakespeare writes sonnets about, that kind of energy here, right? So what it feels like for you, group number 2, and this energy that is being it feels very heavy, but in like a good way. It feels very full. That's what it is. It feels very full to me, right? I think it's interesting here with our Two of Wands, how it's paralleling this dual nature here, right? In our eternal love card as well. These two, and of course we got our skeletons because this is Santa Muerte deck, but also our 2 skeletons here with the Halloween Oracle. And this duality here, right? These 2 sides of self, this idea of a significant other, a counterpart, right? In ourselves, our light and our shadow, our positive and negative, our masculine and feminine, all this energy, and really this idea of self-love and taking pride in ourselves, and not to like a bad extent or anything. I feel like pride is a very double-edged sword word, because we have the idea of like pride being a sin, right? And one of the 7 deadly sins, and being too prideful, right? But that is not the case for this energy. It says, I love myself and I see myself in everyone, right? This duality, these 2 sides of a coin, the mirror, this mirroring energy that's taking place. So what I feel like is harvesting, what I feel like is coming to fruition, what I feel like we are gathering and celebrating in this case here for you, group number 2, is this passion and creativity, this new joy for life again, right? Being able to celebrate, hey, I feel good. I have these ideas, this dual nature. I have these other sides of me that I love and care for, that I take pride in, that I'm like very what's the word I want here? There's a word I want for this card. Accomplished? That's close. I'm like seeing like from an outside perspective, like when I'm proud, easy. It should have been an easy word. I'm proud of who I am, right? I'm proud of the person I become. I'm proud of the love I give myself and I give to others. And I'm proud of the zest for life I have, the amount of passion and creativity, and zest for life just in general, right? So gathering all this energy together, gathering all this love, gathering all this pride, and being proud of myself and being proud of other people around me, and knowing that I have a lot to offer here. Okay, so let's see how this energy finishes up with our last card from the Alchemy deck. Interesting reading for sure. Wow. Okay, get these just out of the way for a minute. Okay, Alchemy deck for group number 2, the Bloodstone group. We have the Two of Wands out, Pride and Eternal Love. How is this energy changing and transitioning with the autumn harvest season, with this autumn harvest energy? How does this energy change and transform? What can they expect next? However you want to go about it. What's the most relevant? Too many cards. Oop. Whoa, Jupiter. Great work. Yeah, but that makes sense as well. So I'll just keep Jupiter in this case, but just keep the idea of the Magnus Opus out as well here. But Jupiter talks about expansion. So our Jupiter energy finishing out your reading here, group number 2, with the my Bloodstone group here. The Jupiter card is the energy of expansion. It's the energy of luck and growth and manifestations coming in, just all sorts of really good positive energy for the most part. I mean, expansion, Jupiter expands everything. So in this case, in regards to this reading specifically, we're expanding these ideas, all this good energy here, all this good energy that you've harvested, that you've brought into your life, group number 2, is just expanding and growing, right? As we work in this energy of this eternal love, this self-love, this compassionate energy, this pride of being proud of ourselves and who we are and what we've accomplished and the ideas that we have, this energy of Jupiter just comes in and keeps expanding it all. It keeps growing. And it's just the idea of basic manifestation at work at the end of the day, right? We keep ourselves in this energy and we keep moving with this energy and we just keep seeing it and attracting more and more and more of it, and it keeps expanding and growing and expanding and growing and expanding and growing more and more and more. So for you, group number 2, with this energy, I was seeing the 4 and almost said group number 4 with our Bloodstone energy here, right? I feel like you really have the courage now. You really have the drive and the determination to see your ideas come to light, to know who you are at the core through everything, through all the beginnings and ends, and being proud of who that person is and wanting to expand and grow that person, right? Coming into this new season, right? We're harvesting all this positivity, working our way through some rest and rejuvenation that'll happen through winter, and then spring comes and we can keep growing this energy. We'll have usually just winter is always kind of just that pause and that breath. We pull back with life and death a little bit. We pull back that energy, but that just allows us to take that, like, if I think about like the lungs expanding, right, to breathe, as I'm having trouble breathing and talking too much, there is that contraction in order to expand again, right? So what you really feel like you're harvesting here, group number 2, in this season coming into our fall equinox in the Northern Hemisphere, is passion and a drive for life and having a newfound appreciation and being proud of who you are and who you are becoming, and just watching that expand and grow in every aspect of your life. So very, very cool, fun reading. I like this reading a lot here, group number 2. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it resonated with you. If you are interested in a personal reading from me, check down in the drop box down below in our information section. And that is all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in space and time. Please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye. Hello, hello, group number 3, the Shiva Lingam group. So this is our lovely Shiva stone. Very, very large piece, which is nice. So Shiva Lingam, Shiva stone, is considered the cosmic egg. So it ties very heavily into the reproductive organs. It ties into both the masculine and feminine and that creation energy. Balancing of those two energies. So that's going to be very important here, the balancing of our masculine and feminine, balancing of the receptive energy, and then our active energy, how we need to use both of those energies and in what way, and potentially within like a certain time frame too. So it might be like, okay, we need to be very active for a while, and then we need to go into the receptive and see how that pans out. So interesting energy. So let us put our stone off to the side and let us look at our different cards today. So we're going to use Santa Muerte first to figure out what you are harvesting here in this autumn season. Now that we're moved through into through the equinox here, with that taking place, our eclipses, all this energy that's happening. So what are we harvesting now in our autumn season, specifically Northern Hemisphere autumn season? We'll look at what lesson this is a part of, the Soul's Journey cards, get a little bit more clarification, and then we'll get some even more clarification with the Halloween Oracle, really heavily focused in on this fall season, this harvest energy, this movement through as we progress into winter energy. What we need to maybe dive back, bring back, what we need to kind of pull back energy wise. And then finally, we'll get a card from Alchemy over here to see how this energy is changing and progressing through the season. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get these guys out of the way for the moment and get our first card. A little bright over on this side. There we go, that helped a little bit. Okay. Okay. Santa Muerte for group number 3 here, our Shiva group, Shiva Lingam. What are they harvesting in the autumn season? What is the energy that they are harvesting? What are they harvesting here with this season? Group number 3 harvesting. Thank you. I want it that way. We've got the Queen of Swords. She kind of came out sideways, so she's kind of like this. So that definitely gives an energy of some choices, some active movement and progress here potentially, depending on how we decide to go about things. So let us see. So with our Queen of Swords energy here, right, so with it coming out kind of in our sideways position, we're looking more specifically at harvesting a thought process, a way of being more so. Our Queen of Swords is very astute, very calculating, very aware of the situation, very mindful, right? We have our sword on the top here on the shoulder of our Queen of Swords, and carrying that burden of knowledge, but at the same time wielding it as a weapon for power, for purpose, for movement forward, right? I kind of see somebody like hacking through a bunch of like tall plants or weeds or something. Usually you'd have like something like a machete, but in this case a sword would work pretty well for that, right? So this movement forward, this awareness of self, it feels very strong, and it feels very, I feel very like my open-minded, so to speak. Like I see in our the face of our Queen of Swords here, right? That entire like third eye taken up by the spade, which represents the swords in a regular card deck. So I feel like you're harvesting here, group number 3. You're harvesting awareness. You're harvesting a new mindset is what it feels like to me. So let's Let's see what lesson this is a part of here. Let's get a little bit more clarification so I can kind of see how it feels. I'm curious. So far, the other couple groups have tied in very heavily with their stone. So I'm curious if that's going to be the case for this one as well. Definitely some balancing here, right? Again, with the sword coming out in the sideways position. Sword card coming out. So, okay. Let's see. Okay. Soul's Journey cards. What lesson is the Queen of Swords a part of? What is group 3 harvesting, the Shiva group? What lesson is this a part of? With what they are harvesting, what lesson is this a part of? Thank you. Okay. We have empathy. Interesting. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation. So, very, like, almost in contrast a little bit with our Queen of Swords energy here, right? The Queen of Swords, I would say, is very logic heavy, very mindful, right? It's very much in the mind, of course, because of our swords energy here, versus something like a Queen of Cups would tie more heavily in with the empathy card. Not opposites by any means, but the immediate energy is like head over heart to me is kind of what we're feeling, which does tie in with our more masculine and feminine, right? The quote unquote logical side being a little bit more masculine, the heart being quote unquote a little bit more feminine. Not that those are hardcore definitions by any means or ways they like the strictness of the way the energy works, but it says for this, if you'd like to read the description specifically, I'll read it out loud too. I've been doing it for the other groups. It says, you don't truly understand others' motivations if you haven't lived their lives and seen the world through their eyes. It's so easy to judge another's behavior matched up against your own and label it as right or wrong. But you're missing an important part of the equation, the other person's history and personal path. We are all sparks of the divine with a purpose here in the physical dimension, and we can all exert our free will. Some of us have lost our way along the path to love, and it is a human reaction to judge others before examining their journey through their eyes and with compassion. Human reaction. It is a human reaction to judge others before examining their journey through their eyes and with compassion. It's your job not to judge. Your job is to love and understand. So tying that in with our Queen of Swords coming more out sideways, right? And even potentially in the reverse. I can see why the lesson here might be empathy, just tying in specifically with our Queen of Swords, right? We are a little bit too stuck in our head, maybe. We are trying to really logic our way through a situation or maybe in reaction to another situation versus using empathy for ourselves or for others, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, you've been doing a lot. You've been going through a lot of things. You've been working really hard, and you have to give yourself credit where credit's due, right? You have to have empathy for yourself and the mistakes you may have made, the lessons you are learning, and how that is progressing through, right? Logic gets us very far. Logic and thinking clearly and taking a step back from emotions sometimes can be very beneficial. But at the same time, we are human beings at the end of the day, and having empathy and care and compassion, we can't take emotions out of the equation. That's not how that works, right? Again, balancing the two sides of a coin, balancing the two sides of self. So we can't ever take emotion out of the equation, right? So we need to find a way to give ourselves this empathy and care and love while still keeping our logical mind intact, right? There's a time and place for everything, right? So it's important to feel our emotions. It's important to have those emotions and process through them, because otherwise they get stuck. They can get stored in the body somewhere, and those places end up hurting. There's lots of different thought processes for that. But not processing our emotions, we all know, is unhealthy in general. So by having empathy for ourselves or for others, we can kind of mitigate this, right? So I can see more so why our Queen of Swords is coming out in the sideways, kind of more could fall either upright or in the reverse. So let's get a little bit more clarification here. Let's look at Halloween Oracle. I'm really curious how this is going to how this ties in with Autumn Harvest. So let's see. Halloween Oracle for group number 3 here, the Shiva group. What are they harvesting? We have the Queen of Swords and we have the Empathy card. What is group number 3 harvesting here? What is the energy they're harvesting? Thank you. The witch. So, the earthly weaver of the worlds. Interesting. I haven't seen this card. I don't remember if I've had this card out before. But very, very strong energy just off the bat too, like our Queen of Swords here. I feel like those are tying in heavily. But let's look at the description for this card. They all have their own little poems that come with them, which I think is really cool. And then we'll look at the description as well. So for those who may want to pause and read themselves, I will read it out loud though. So, earth, air, fire, water, a woman lovely, a woman strange, weaver of the worlds, moon's daughter, witch the catalyst for change. Ah, okay. Says witches have a bad PR day, have had a bad PR day for a couple millennia now. Originally, the healers or cunning women of the village. The very word witch comes from the Celtic word wicki, something like that, which means weaver or wise. When the new religion of Christianity spread through the land, the custodians of the old pagan ways, in part, witches were labeled as evil and, as we know from history, persecuted. They were driven underground or under the night sky into the shadows of misunderstanding and darkness. However, for the purposes of Halloween, let's look at witches as weavers of magic and change. Through spells and rituals, and even through herbal recipes, yes, often brewed in a cauldron, they weave the powers of this world and the next in synergy to solve problems and heal. Holding the witch card means that you can weave your own change throughout your life, and that magic is indeed afoot. Magic indeed is afoot. You must understand that you have power and it is real. It may also indicate that others may be threatened by your developing personal power, and that they may not appreciate or like the changes as you grow. Be prepared for this and do not be discouraged. New friends and better opportunities will be attracted instead. Interesting. Okay. What I'm feeling here that you are harvesting here, group number 3, in this autumn season, you are harvesting a lot of power and ability. You have a new awareness, right? You've come into this new reality, this new capacity to change things, to do things. Having even logic yourself into the situation, right? It's like you are very clear. It's like, oh, I have this ability, I have this power, I have this way of seeing the world that can be considered a superpower by some, right? That is so very discerning and very detailed and particular, right? And that gives you so much information. That gives you so much information that is a power in and of itself, and that allows you to make things change very, very rapidly too, right? And where this empathy card feels like it also ties in is the awareness of others and how they're feeling. So having empathy for yourself, having empathy for others, knowing how emotions play into the reality, even in a logical way. Very, very interesting combination here, right? This witch energy here, this wise energy, this weaver energy coming through and showing that there is a lot of creation, right? I'm almost looking at the card here, right? I can even see our Shiva, Shiva being between the hands of the witch here, right? Holding it. There's a lot of creation here, a lot of ability. And this kind of power, this kind of energy can be used in a creative, creational way, or it can be used in a destructive way as well, right? The same thing with the sword. The sword can be something that can cut and harm others, or it can be something to protect and used as a tool. So knowing where to apply that in terms of empathy by being aware of others and their situations and how they feel about life, how they feel about themselves, how you feel about them, how they react to a situation, allows you to apply and move energy in a very holistic way, in a way that is beneficial for everybody, right? And there's a lot mentally happening with this, right? It's, again, I feel it's the combination of intellectualizing emotion, but not in a way that makes the emotion and this empathy and having empathy for others inauthentic. It isn't inauthentic in any regard because we have so much connection to others, right? We have so much, we are part of this weaver energy here, right? And we can see all these different paths and way things can go, right? So we can work and pull all these strings and all these threads in order to help people and help ourselves, and do it in a way that is very caring and loving at the same time, right? This Wicca energy, I want to say instead of witch, Wicca, that's the connection to earth, right? This cosmic energy, this cosmic egg, this creation energy ties very, very heavily in with the planet and the elements. And I'm like seeing like a spider's web almost, right? And like being in the center of the spider's web. Ooh, even as I talk about it, right? Look at kind of that webbing that's in our empathy card here, right? But sitting in the middle of this, sitting in your power and your deep emotional well, but seeing all the threads and the way things move and being able to weave this beautiful life for yourself. Very, very strong, powerful energy, right? And that's why I feel it tying in very, very heavily again with the Queen of Swords, and the way it can kind of like, it keeps wanting to rotate, right? Because it's very, very powerful energy and can be used negatively if you're not careful, right? And knowing people to this depth can be easy ways to manipulate them, unfortunately. So it's something to be careful about and something to keep in mind, right? Where we want to use our powers, in this case, quote unquote, so to speak, for good. And even though you have empathy for people and you know about them and care about them and stuff, you still have to give everybody their own life, that you have to let them progress and change their life in their way versus you putting your expectations on others, right? Again, this way, this Queen of Swords energy can kind of come in the reverse. So I can see why I just want to keep like flipping her around here. Interesting energy here, group number 3. Harvesting ultimately a lot of power and a lot of knowledge and figuring out how this will work, right? Taking it into the winter season and into the spring after that, and everything coming kind of like coalescing and pulling it in together and seeing how you want to progress life and progress things for change and for good. Okay, let's get our last card now from Alchemy, see how this changes, how this progresses, or maybe what else we need to know. I'm not sure yet. Okay, Alchemy for group number 3 here, the Shiva stone. We've got Queen of Swords, empathy, and the Witch out. What else does group 3 need to know, or how is this energy changing and progressing? Whatever is the most beneficial and helpful for group number 3, please. One card. Thank you. Okay. This is, the sun. Okay. A lot of awareness coming out with the sun energy. The sun being the center of the, like our human universe, so to speak, right? Not, I say the center of the universe, but as far as humans are concerned, it is the center of the universe, right? So the sun card. Strong final card. And again, coming in with that creation energy as well. And again, seeing how, like, look at the center of our witch card here and the bright orangey kind of colors coming out of the sun. They tie in very heavily with each other. Where is it? So with our sun card, there are keywords for all of these cards. The sun is the first one in this deck, number 1. So again, heavy emphasis on self. And then keywords for the sun. Come on. I don't want to go too far. There we go. So for anybody who would like to read it themselves, but it says expression, vitality, identity. Each morning the sun graces the night sky, summoning the dawn, such as the energy of the sun card. With its arrival, it is an activation and a presence of vitality, of new beginnings. This said the sun is linked to the hero archetype and the yang dynamic in Chinese alchemy. Through the sun's radiance, we are inclined to see ourselves fully and establish a sense of who we are. We gain confidence and a clearer vision. Vision with the sword's energy here. In its light, we are sure that we too have an important role in this world associated with the masculine dynamics. The Sun card certainly carries a risk if not kept in check. Wasn't I talking about that earlier? It says, remember the sun never actually sets. It's the earth that pivots away. Assess whether it's time for you to awaken more fully or turn away and rest. Sun burns humble us all. It says to go deeper, read the poem Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, and then to ponder the birth of the suns. So, yes, it feels like very much so here for you, group number 3. We're harvesting in autumn. We are coming into this power. We are coming into a very strong dynamic, a very strong sense of self, right? And again, balancing this masculine and feminine, which does tie in with our Shiva stone as we were beginning at. This masculine dynamic for being present and this vitality and this active change energy here, right? And with our Queen of Swords energy, right, it is a queen, but it's still the swords. That's still the logical mind, which is more masculine. But a reminder at the end of the day to keep with this empathy as well, to stay within this empathetic nature that you have. I'm open to seeing both sides of a situation, right? So seeing both sides of yourself, seeing that masculine and feminine, whatever your gender and sex may be. Two different things, of course, but the way this balances within ourselves, the switch, obviously more feminine energy, but we do have our masculine counterparts, our sun having the counter with the moon and talking about the darkness, which ties in with our witch energy as well. The queen energy being more feminine, but the swords itself being a little bit more masculine, right? There's this constant back and forth in this balance. And I do think it ultimately did tie in with our Shiva stone here, right? This concept of creation of the creator, this cosmic egg, the focus on both the masculine and feminine energy and the way reproduction happens, right? We have the two different sides for masculine and feminine that combine to ultimately create a new human being. And the sun being this creation energy, right? The sun being us being able to live and exist in the first place because the sun exists. So what it feels like you're harvesting here ultimately with the autumn season, you're bringing in lots of new power and ability and finally getting it all situated and together. And then again, the sun card talking about knowing when to rest, right? Having that time when we're facing away from the sun and then when the sun is fully in our faces, that day and night cycle. So knowing, being very tied in with the seasons here as well. This is that witch energy also coming through. So I see how this empathy applies across the board, right? Empathy for ourselves, empathy for our stability and who we are and how things change and progress and move through. Empathy for the planets and others and their situations and how everything works and nature itself, right? At the end of the day. Very, very strong, interesting energy, and I'm curious to see how it'll progress for you through your next seasons here, group number 3. But that is all I have for you today. I hope this reading resonated. I hope it made sense. If you're interested in a personal reading from me, go ahead and check down below in the description box. You'll find my Ko-Fi down there. And I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in space and time, and I will see you in the next video. Hello to group number 4, the Merlinite group. So beautiful Merlinite stone, one of my favorite pieces, one of my favorite stones to use. So Merlinite ties very heavily into magic, into intuition, spirituality. So maybe we are diving into more into that world. We've discovered we have maybe a new spiritual gift potentially, or we're exploring the spiritual gifts we've always had but we didn't know about. We could be diving into new forms of magic, maybe herbalism, kitchen witch, being like a kitchen witch, or periphery magic, different things like that, right? Psychic energy, what's the other word? Mediumship, all of those kind of tie very heavily in with Merlinite here. And especially since we're coming into the fall season and into Halloween and that more energy where we would need like mediumship, maybe that's a very important aspect here. So this is our Merlinite stone, but let's get started with our reading here for what you are harvesting now in this autumn season. We're going to pull our first card from Santa Muerte here, getting that energy of what we are harvesting, what the energy is about. We're going to then get a card from soul's journey here and figure out what this lesson is a part of. What's the bigger picture here that we're looking at? We'll get more clarification here at the Halloween oracle, especially tying in with the autumn season and Halloween and this energy of decay after the harvest here before we go into winter. And then finally we'll get a card here from Alchemy over here, seeing how the energy will change and transform through the seasons, and how everything happens here and how this will change as it progresses forward. Okay, so let us get started now. Get these guys out of the way for the moment and get started with Santa Muerte here. Okay. A good shuffle to start. Okay. Santa Muerte for group number 4, the Merlinite group. What are they harvesting in this autumn season? What is coming up here through manifestation, through this harvest? What are they bringing to a close potentially this autumn harvest? This Merlinite group, what are they harvesting? Too many cards. One card, please. What is group number 4 harvesting with autumn? Okay, that's one. These just fell. Okay. Doop. Ooh, we have the 4 of Swords in the reverse. It came out like that. So our coffin being present here, these 4 nails going into the coffin. So interesting energy to start, but that one definitely was a full reversal in this case. So we'll make sure that stays in the reverse position. Okay, let us see. What do we got going on here with the 4 of Swords? We'll get more clarification and see what lesson this is a part of. But overall, the 4 of Swords energy, especially if we're talking about autumn harvest, we're looking more so at the fact that maybe we have a new perspective. We've taken the time for some rest, or maybe we've been forced into some rest and relaxation here with the 4 of Swords coming in the reverse. So we see our coffin here, right, and the coffin being nailed shut. And the idea here being rest is forced upon us in this case. Our skeletons, of course, are already dead. They don't need to worry about dying again in this case. So the forced rest of being forced to lay down in a coffin, forced to take that breath, take that breather, right? So it could be a situation where you lost a job, or like a relationship ended, something where you have to take a step back and like reevaluate your life and reevaluate what's going on, what's going to happen next, what you're going to do next. But since we're talking about autumn harvest, and especially with magic and intuition here with our Merlinite stone, we're really focused on this idea of a new perspective that comes after this rest and forced rest and rejuvenation, right? So it could be 4 of Swords as stuck energy, or things that we're like, we want to move on, but maybe can't quite move on. We have this exhaustion and burnout and stagnation, but it also could be that idea of moving forward and trying to figure out this next step, this next process, right? The energy after that breakdown, after that burnout. So let us see more specifically what this energy is a part of in terms of our lessons for our soul's journey card, and we'll get a little bit more of an idea then, I think. Okay, soul's journey cards are definitely very, very helpful seeing what this is a part of, what we are dealing with here. So soul's journey cards for group number 4, the Merlinite group, with the 4 of Swords in reverse. Oh, just double 4s there, I realized just now. Anyway, what lesson is this a part of? What are they harvesting in the autumn season? What lesson is this reverse 4 of Swords a part of? What lesson are we dealing with? Thinking about it. Too much freedom. We'll see if it comes out, but what lesson? Empathy. That was the last group, so I'm not going to take that one, but Good to know as well. Surrender. So many things. Okay, hold on. Let's get some clarification here. Make sure nothing flipped because it felt like it wanted to flip. Okay, that all looks good. Okay. Okay, for group number 4, please. Group number 4, what are they harvesting in this autumn season? What is this lesson a part of? The 4 of Swords in reverse. What is the lesson this is a part of? One card, please. Very clear. Okay. Success, good to know, but this one landed. So, courage. Okay, I can see that. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. So the idea of this new perspective coming in, right? We're talking about the 4 of Swords in reverse as well with this energy. And the idea of awakening and healing and getting strength to come back to us post a burnout is going to be a little bit more in line here. But let's look at our description for this card. I've been giving the descriptions for every group here. So if anybody wants to pause and read, here it is for you. But I will read it out loud. It says, I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. You need to remind yourself that part of the challenge of being a soul is learning to honor your own power. So definitely tying in with our Merlinite stone and the spiritual advancement, right? By listening to your inner voice and following its advice, intuition, you are acknowledging the perfection of your intuition. Fear is only an illusion, and obstacles are great opportunities for you to demonstrate that coming from a place of love will conquer all of fear's disguises. Perhaps you're changing career paths, are entering or exiting a relationship. Well, didn't I mention that earlier? How funny. This test has been put before you because it is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you and only you can make the correct decision. By not taking that step forward, you may find yourself 2 steps back, only to face that same obstacle again, which then ties in back with our 4 of Swords energy here, right? So if we don't have the courage to face the situation head on here, to face the challenge that is presented to us, then we end up back in this burnout. We end up back in this 4 of Swords energy, especially in the reverse and not in the positive way of having a new idea or new perspective now post burnout. We just fall right straight back into burnout in this case. Okay, for our 4 of Swords energy, 4 of Swords in the reverse, for the reversals, in my experience and in my research, they could be too much of the energy or not enough of the energy. And sometimes they just flip completely on the head where it's like, okay, the 4 of Swords means this, and then it's the opposite, right? That's why it's a reversal. So that's why when I'm talking about this card specifically, we can see that we can be doing something new, or we have a new perspective. We can have this awakening, healing, returning energy. The return of energy after burnout and getting strength back, right? But that only happens when we have this courage to progress forward and keep moving forward, having our power, taking the power back in the situation and having the courage to proceed and progress the situation into something different, right? So we always end up back in the 4 of Swords where we need some rest. We need some time to rejuvenate. We need some time to catch our breath, so to speak. But we want to make sure we don't keep cycling over and over and over again, right? So the Merlinite stone, I feel here, very heavily tying into the intuition of the situation, right? You know you need to do something different. You know you need to do things in a new way. You need to tackle the problem in a new creative way. You need to come at it from a whole different angle is what it feels like. It's funny, our courage card here talking about a new career path, right? And I was talking about potentially losing a job or with the 4 of Swords, or leaving a relationship. And that came out with the courage card as well, almost verbatim, which is kind of funny. But the idea here being that you need to have the courage to seek something new here. We're harvesting this energy, this intuition, right? We're harvesting this energy of knowing and seeing this new idea for what it was, right? If you think about the 4 of Swords and having taken that time to rest and recuperate after very stressful things, right? The end of that relationship, the end of that job, being let go from that job, having to move houses with unexpectedly, those kinds of like, oh great, I have to worry about this now, oh, I have to handle this now, those kind of situations, right? After taking the time to like give yourself rest and give yourself empathy, and I think that the card came out right in our lessons. If you're giving yourself empathy and a lot of self-love, then you have the ability to tap in very heavily with your intuition and your magic here and find a new creative solution to your problems and a way to handle things, right? To do that job you maybe always wanted. You finally have that idea in your head to like start that business and what that business may be. But we have to have the courage to pursue it, is kind of the crux of the matter here. Right? So we can keep ourselves trapped with the Four of Swords, or we can have the courage to proceed and move forward out of it. So let us get our next card now from the Halloween Oracle, see what else we want to know. What else? Halloween Oracle. Oh, hi. Cool. Graveyard, unnecessary fear. Good to know. Makes sense as well, but okay. Halloween Oracle for group number 4, the Merlinite group. We've got courage as our lesson. Harvesting, dealing with the Four of Swords, energy in reverse. What else can you offer us? What else does group number 4 need to know? What else does group number 4 need to know? Oh. Okay, so reducing burden, and then winter, sacredness of pausing. Well, that's that one for sure, and reducing of burden. We'll keep both of those out. I feel like the winter card here ties more heavily in with the past. And then I like the forgiveness card here for tying kind of what's in with the present. So the winter one's the one I'll end up putting away here because this one popped up on top, but I will read it out for you real quick here. So there's little poems that are for each of the cards here and their description. So if anybody wants to read, here it is if you want to pause it. So it says, lightly I step, for the earth falls asleep, a lullaby to rest and pause, the soul's secrets to keep. Death is frightening, even though, or perhaps because it is inescapable. However, as we move into winter, we know it signals a literal and metaphysical death. In some parts of the planet, the extreme weather means snow and ice buries all life, and the ground lies fallow and still. In winter, the earth slows down and there is less light and often more wet weather. Many plants die back, many animals are less active, and traditionally it was a leaner, more difficult time for those who worked on the land for their living. Winter often brought with it the end of a life cycle, a literal or figurative or literal death. Should the winter card appear to you, it's time to let what no longer serves you die away. Where it seems natural and right to let things that have been bothering you for some time die back, take real action to change those things. Anything that is superfluous, extra, and burdensome, release it. Don't be stuck here, right, with our Four of Swords. So I'll keep that kind of off to the side here, so we keep that in mind. But our big card here is the forgiveness, the release of burden. Reducing burden. So close up on that one here. Beautiful card, and I do like the mirroring that is taking place with the courage card as well, right? So we've got this red and then this white. This is almost like this is in the center of the courage card here. So for forgiveness, pause if you would like to read yourself. There we go. But it says, a wrong is done, consequences you cannot deny, but to hold a grudge is to drink poison and think that the other person will die. Being a cold season festival, Halloween is the perfect time to pause and think about how things actually are in our lives and what heavy burdens we do not wish to carry through these harder, leaner times. Some of this heavy-heartedness may relate to old relationships or grievances, that job, that relationship like I was talking about earlier. Some may relate to the negative feelings we hold on Some may relate to negative feelings we hold on to tightly about others and even a lack of compassion for the mistakes we have ourselves made. It is said that it takes a big person to apologize, but in many ways it takes an even bigger person to forgive. When we hold grudges, the negative energy is incredibly toxic. It is like drinking a poison and expecting the other unforgiven person to die. Whilst we may even harbor feelings of revenge, and to be honest, that does feel good for a while, it's important that we move those feelings along to forgiveness and release as soon as possible for our own health and well-being. If you have chosen this card, think about who it is that you could be forgiving, and that includes yourself. Very, very interesting card here, right? So there's a little bit something deeper going on here, right? And again, we're cultivating with our autumn harvest here for you, group number 4. We're cultivating intuition, we're cultivating knowledge, we're cultivating power, right? So with our Merlinite stone here, especially knowing that intuition in your intuition, there is something here that's been blocking you, that you've been letting keep you stuck for a long time, right? So it takes a lot of courage to get out of this situation and to forgive yourself and to potentially forgive the other person, depending on what the situation is and how it happened and what's going on. Of course, that'll depend person to person and situation to situation. And I personally don't think forgiveness for others is necessarily needed depending on the situation, but forgiveness for self is definitely the most important, right? Because ultimately you're the one, the situation and how you're handling it and what's going on is what's relevant in this case. It's relevant to you, right? So if you need to forgive somebody for your benefits, and I don't want to be like mean or callous saying it or anything, right? But it's like forgiveness, you have to see how forgiveness pans out, whether or not you're forgiving for the other person and you're just ignoring yourself in the process, or if it's a mutual, like you're forgiving them so then, and you're forgiving yourself in the process, and you're actually letting go of that pain and hurt along with it as you're forgiving that person, or if you just need to be forgiving to yourself and putting yourself in that situation or allowing that situation to happen to yourself. And then you don't even have to involve the other person at all, right? If somebody is very, very toxic and harmful and narcissistic or whatever it is in a relationship, you don't have to forgive that person. They're not going to potentially change and get better, right? They don't deserve forgiveness, but you yourself do deserve that forgiveness and reducing your own burden in this case for like, hey, that situation sucked, right? But we're not going to stay in that situation. We're not going to stay stuck in that situation anymore with the Four of Swords. We're going to have courage to move through it and get out of it and do things differently and do better and listen to ourselves and our intuition here, right? Knowing our power and having the courage to use and activate that power, okay? So let's get our final card out. I want to see how this is going to progress here with Alchemy now. There's a lot of knowing here for you, group number 4. It feels like with the Merlinite and for our intuition here, and especially with the Winter card also coming out. There is a knowing of what you need to do. It's just forgiving yourself and having the courage to move forward, okay? That's the strongest energy here. But for Alchemy here, Alchemy, what does group number 4 need to know? What is changing and progressing in this situation? How is the situation transforming, or what can they expect after the situation transforms? Thank you. Ooh. Contra Naturam, against nature. I've gotten this card myself before, right? So it is a card that can be very challenging. Where's the book at? There's lots of helpful advice in the card, but it's still a hard card in my personal experience. So, but it could be in the case of power again, right? There we go. Willfulness, to force or control. So, on some level, we all know when we are going against nature. We recognize it in feelings of impatience and agitation that arise when trying to force certain outcomes. The Contra Naturium card arrives to remind the alchemists they cannot control the uncontrollable. Nature has its ways, enveloping us in a wild narrative that we can collaborate in but not dictate. No matter our efforts to manage every aspect of our lives, the mess ensues. Spring is soggy. The locust requires mud. People do what they do. This card heeds a warning not to fight the flow of Mother Nature or of destiny. Once we loosen the grip of what we think life should look like, a whole new realm of possibilities awaken. Now's the time to be radically open to what nature has in store for you. To go deeper, it says watch the Talking Heads music video, Nothing But Flowers, and to ponder what we resist persists. So, with our Against Nature card coming out here to finish our reading, the tying in of these colors is very interesting to me here at the top, and it's almost like what could be at the center here, right? So the going against nature, if we don't forgive ourselves and have the courage to progress the situation, right? So I feel very strongly that you have an idea of this here, group number 4. You have an idea what's going on, what's happening, especially with our Merlinite stone being the center of this reading. We know with the 4 of Swords that we potentially are holding ourselves back, and like this is what's happening. These 2 outside cards are what is the situation we're in right now. And our 2 inner cards here, especially like inner intuition and stuff, is what needs to happen in order to actually change the situation, right? To harvest courage and to harvest forgiveness for ourselves in this autumn season as we're moving through this autumn season. And progressing into winter here, right? Progressing into a time of pullback and reflection and coldness in order to change things for the better, right? To move with nature and not go against it. So a difficult reading here for sure, group number 4. There is a lot of challenge in place, but you do know what you need to do. It feels like you are aware, you are intuitively aware, you're cultivating that knowledge and seeing what needs to happen, knowing that you will have the strength to do this and will be able to forgive in the situation that it calls for, right? And then you can move and progress both of these energies in a positive and healthy way, right? Going with the flow of nature instead of against it, and not keeping yourself stuck here with the 4 of Swords. So I wish you all the best here, group number 4. It's a challenging situation for sure, but one that I know you'll get through, and one that you have support in and knowledge in. And I know it will turn out for the best as long as you listen to your intuition here, okay? So I hope that reading resonated. Hope that was helpful for you. If you're interested with a personal reading with me, check in the links down below. You can see my Ko-Fi there where I'll have personal readings up. And I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in space and time. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hello to my final group number 5, the Septarium group. So this is Septarium, also known sometimes as Dragonstone. Combination of 3 different crystals or 3 different minerals in there. Usually Argonite, I think, calcite, and limestone. It's usually the combination. So this stone is one that is very prevalent and useful for grounding. It is a combination of elements that came together, I think, in historic, like prehistoric times, like Cretaceous period, I think, when I think it was in the United States. I think a lot of these come out of Utah, when that was still a sea at that time. So the energy here is very grounding because we have all these different crystals, different minerals. It's very heavy, so it's very weighty. It brings a lot of stability to the user, to the holder, and then connection to a deeper self as well, because it is such an ancient rock, has different ancient crystals in it and everything. There's connections to past lives and kind of our more ancient selves. So curious to see how that pans out in our reading today for your autumn harvest and what energy we are bringing into this reading. So we have our 4 different decks here that we're going to use. First, we're going to pull a card from Santa Muerte, getting our energy for what we are harvesting now in this autumn season with this seasonal energy here. We're going to see what lesson this is a part of with our Soul's Journey card here, getting more clarification on that. A little bit more information will come from the Halloween Oracle, more clarification about maybe this card or the situation as a whole. And then finally, we'll get a card from Alchemy over here, which will show us how the energy is changing and progressing or moving through this particular situation as a whole, or maybe into the next season. So it'll just depend on how the reading goes. So let us get started now. Let's get these guys out of the way and grab our first card from Santa here. Okay. Santa Muerte for group number 5. What are they harvesting now in this autumn season? What is their harvest here in the autumn season for group number 5? Interesting. Okay. Keep that in mind. I just like clear cards. I want one clear card, please. Santa Muerte, one clear card for group number 5. What are they harvesting in this autumn season? This is group number 5, the Septarium group harvest. Thank you. There we go. Ooh, that ended up moving a little bit. Did you see that slide in there? So it was in a little bit more of a reversal, but then it slid into a sideways position, which means to me for this King of Wands here that it can be in the upright or in the negative. We'll see how that pans out through the reading here, but it's a way that the energy can flip potentially. It can be like, okay, if we're in the more negative aspects of the card, we can flip it to the positive, or vice versa, or maybe we need more of one energy in particular. It could apply to specific people in this group as well, specific parts of the collective. So this is the King of Wands. King of Wands, Wands energy, talking about our passion, our creativity, our deep creative selves more than anything. So let us get a little bit closer look, a little bit more intricate meanings for the King of Wands here. So for King of Wands here, the energy we're working with, the energy that we are progressing through, potentially harvesting here now for our autumn season, is a lot of ambitions, a lot of goals, a lot of goal-driven energy, right? It feels very type A, feels very like head first, Mars energy, like gung-ho kind of energy here, right? But with it coming in a more sideways position, keeping in mind where it can be for reversals as well, that's where we can get to authoritarian, to dictatory. We can be very arrogant potentially, right? So looking at our King of Wands here, the energy where it's like, this feels very like militant, almost very dictatory in that regard, but also could be very strong, very determined. So I'm curious to see what lesson this is part of. That'll give us some more clarification. I'm trying to feel out how it's tying in with our Septarian stone here, right? Having very grounded energy as we are progressing and maybe trying to accomplish a goal. We're trying to, I got my eyes closed, trying to like feel out this energy where we have a lot of goals. We have a lot of lofty ambitions here. So we're trying to make sure we're staying grounded, and let's see what we're harvesting here. I'm trying to figure out what the harvest is. So let's get our next card out here. Let's see what lesson this is a part of with the Soul's Journey cards. Soul's Journey cards for group number 5 here with the King of Wands coming out sideways, the Septarian group. What lesson is this autumn harvest a part of? What lesson is this a part of? Oh, courage. I'm going to get one more out, see. There we go. because this was the card that group number 3 got out. So I do not like to do repeats. Gratitude. Interesting. Okay. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities it presents. So we'll keep that one, but just keep courage in mind. We'll probably end up talking about it as well in the reading later on. And there was a card that jumped out for group number 4 as well that we didn't end up taking. I think it was freedom or something else. And we did end up talking about it later on in the reading anyway. So this is gratitude. And it says, I am thankful for this life and the opportunities that it presents. And let us look at our description here in the booklet. I've been showing the descriptions to every group so far, so make sure you're just the same here. This is present if you want to read it yourself, but I will read it out loud. So it says the soulful card is telling you that it's time to stop, close your eyes, and become mindful of the incredible gift the universe has bestowed upon you in offering valuable and unique lessons tailored especially for your soul. This is an important reminder to express your appreciation for what has been, what will be, and most important, who you are. It's time to acknowledge to the universe how thankful you are for being provided these opportunities for insights and understanding. It is also the time for your soul to share recognition of all those loved ones in your life upon the earth or in spirit who have helped you form who you are now. You may even find it helpful to begin to write a list of all the things that you're grateful for in your life. When you put forth the contemplation and energy to do this, it awakens thoughts that acknowledge your connection to all that is. By bringing yourself into a state of gratitude, it not only has a transforming effect on the energy in the sacred space surrounding you, but also brings an overall sense of health and well-being. I feel like this ties very heavily into our stone here. That is your theme stone for this group here, group number 5, the Septarian stone. That connection, that groundedness, right? That connection to source energy, to Mother Earth in this case, that deep kind of spiritual connection, right? And really tying in with gratitude. So it's interesting here with our King of Wands energy and it coming out sideways. The effect of goals and ambition and how it can fall into arrogance if we don't have this gratitude here, right? The king energy is the final energy, one of the final energies, the masculine final energy of this wand suits, all the different suits that we have, the swords, the chalices or / cups, pentacles, and everything. The king is kind of that like final iteration of that energy and how it comes into fruition. The queen also, but again, the masculine and feminine sides, right? And our king card here talking more heavily on the masculine side and very goal driven, very goal oriented, and very, what's the words I want here? It feels like a bull in a china shop almost, right? Where it's very single-minded, very single focus, like one purpose, one goal, and just like driving straight through, right? But the lesson of gratitude here is important because this is how we cultivate more understanding for our situation and how we see how our actions affect everybody else around us, right? Keeping our King of Wands in the positive, it's a very healthy energy when it comes out in the positive and represents more of the ambitions and the leadership, creativeness and inspiration, versus it coming out in the reverse and it being more of that domineering energy, that dictatorial energy. So the lesson of gratitude here, I think, is very interesting for your autumn harvest. I think that is the overall autumn harvest, is harvesting gratitude. And it is a time of gratitude, right? This fall season, we go into, in terms of holidays, we go into Halloween, but then it's followed by Thanksgiving. So a very heavy time of gratitude, right? Christmas after that. And this time of being with family and loved ones, thinking about those who've passed on with Halloween, being present and joyful and grateful for our loved ones in November, and then in December, spending time with those loved ones, coming together in a form of a community, right? So it feels like with our King of Wands here, the lessons that we're working through with gratitude are how to balance both, how to balance being ambitious and having goals and plans for our life, but still having gratitude for where we came from, our past lives, right? Our past selves, our family, this is like ancestral energy as well, right? It's talking through history. This is energy of a time long since past, and that is also our ancestral energy in this case as well. So this element of gratitude coming in, being like, okay, this is where I came from, this is important, this is why I have my goals, and why I'm trying to achieve what I'm doing for my family, right, for my loved ones, to come out of the lack mindset that my family's always been in, right, to transform those generational traumas and curses and things that have bogged down your family line for a long time, right? So we do that through making changes and being ambitious and creative and inspiring, but we also do that through gratitude and knowing where we came from, why that's important, being grateful that our past selves, our past relatives, our past ancestors, our ancestors did the best they could at the time. Did the best with what they had at the time, what they could at the time, and moving forward with that energy, okay? So let's get a little bit more clarification now. I want to see what the Halloween Oracle has to say. Very interesting combination so far, and it's not the clearest yet, but usually by the end it makes sense, so. Halloween Oracle for group number 5. What are they harvesting in autumn? We already have out the King of Wands and gratitude as our lesson. We're working with Septarium here. What else does group 5 need to know? What else is relevant? Oh, no, thank you. Night Song, hidden talents. Ooh, and this ties in. Look at the color combination here. That red standing out very strong with both of these cards. So, okay, Night Song. So for the Halloween Oracle, each of these cards, they have their own little poem that come with it, and I really like that. So we'll read out of the description here for this one as well. For anybody that wants to read it themselves, here it is. Pause if you need to, but it says Night Song, hidden talents. A ruby red bird singing in the darkness full of sounds, like an unopened present, ribbons still bound. A bird singing at night is an unusual occurrence, and those birds who are known as singers of the darkness are almost always considered sacred or frightening. From the operatic nightingale through to the hooting owl, hearing a bird that you cannot see weaving its magic through the night sky has captivated humans for millennia. Talking about the past, right? Or going back into that old energy. So in the past, at Halloween time, a night that the veil between the worlds was said to be at its thinnest, these night birds were considered either omens or messengers of the gods. Depending on the culture, their voices were perceived as good luck and positive validation, or alternatively, a warning about continuing on a certain pathway. So, in some mythology, the night bird was able to direct us towards discovering our talents and true purpose, kind of guide in the darkness leading us to the dawn. Should this beautiful but shy bird sing to you by appearing during your divination, know that you must unwrap the present of yourself. Look, some of the gifts within you remain unopened. The time has come to step into your true potential and claim all possibilities for yourself. There is no more time to waste, no more excuses. So I feel like with that coming in for clarification here for the meaning of this reading, I'm feeling very heavily this creative energy here, right? And it feels like what you're harvesting now in the autumn season here, group number 5, is this clarity of purpose, of creativity, but at the same time being asked and recognizing where you come from, what is present in your life and maybe always has been, right? And having gratitude for that. And then by cultivating gratitude, we manifest more and more of this positive energy here that we want, okay? So our King of Wands energy in the upright position, talking about that creativity again, and then our Night Song talking about hidden talents, right? That combination of them coming together through this gratitude of self and understanding of self, right? And I think that's what the Septarian stone's really pointing at in this reading as a whole, is that, hey, there is a lot of things hidden, right? There's things hidden in your past. in yourself and your ancestral line that you can dig up and really find and draw creativity and inspiration from, right? There's hidden talents here. There's hidden abilities and resources and things you didn't know about. And then we can cultivate gratitude for like, hey, this is not something I knew before, but now I'm excited that I know it. I'm excited that this exists. I am grateful that my ancestors went through this in order to bring this to me, right? In order for me to have this ability to have this way of doing life, of perceiving things, right? Everything gets passed down through space and time. So our King of Wands energy and what we're cultivating here for you, group number 5 in the autumn season, is it really feels like a new way of life almost. It feels like a new direction, a new way forward here, right? This pointing of the hands with our King of Wands here, and then this night song bird, you hearing it call through the darkness, right? We're finding our path and being grateful for where we came from and what's happened, and that it led us onto this path. That's going to bring out a lot of new opportunities here, right? So our night song energy and like listening for that bird, listening for that call in the dark as you keep moving through and going on your journey here. So let's finish up here. Let's see what the Alchemy deck has to say. I'm curious how this energy is going to change and progress for you. So Alchemy for group number 5 here, Septarium. With all these cards out, how's this energy changing and progressing for group number 5? How's this energy changing and progressing? What's relevant for group number 5? Oh, the void, the darkness, ultimate creativity, ultimate potential as well. Those are just things I remember off the bat for this card. Very interesting card and one I've gotten myself before. But I like the edging here, right? This blackness, this void. So you can see a little bit of the blue. That's from my camera light potentially here if you can see it. But this is the void card. And let me get our cards organized here again, and then we'll look at the description for this card from Alchemy. So the void, XL. So liminal, darkness, destiny. So for anybody that wants to read it themselves, pause if you need to, but it says the void is a mystical riddle in and of itself. It cannot be understood by means of alchemy, chemistry, science, or spirituality. It astonishes the most adept seeker and humbles the philosopher. From the depths of nothingness, all feelings and possibilities are birthed. Behind the curtain of our material world, the power of eternal spaciousness is at work. This card may appear at a time when something has been released, a relationship, a possession, a title, but the void is much bigger than any worldly entity. When an alchemist approaches the void, destiny shifts in the darkness. Night song. Like magnets, you are drawn to it as it is drawn towards you. Meditation is critical at this time. Just sit and breathe, surrender to the vastness, cultivate gratitude here, right? There is electricity between you and the void that is sacred and timeless. From its center, everything is born. To go deeper, it says the movie The Never-Ending Story, and to ponder the stage behind the curtain. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying earlier here, group number 5, this new idea, this new potential, this new reality that you're cultivating here, right? Really talking about this void energy and finding your way, finding this new path here, right? So what I was seeing, right, and what the night song really was talking about is like, I feel like I'm in a forest, right, and it's really dark and I'm just hearing this bird call and working my way through. I was pointed in the right direction, but I'm just kind of working my way through. I'm not scared because I'm grateful for the lessons I've learned in my past, right? I have these resources and abilities that I was taught, that I was given over, like I resources I was given and skills I was taught through past experiences, through my ancestors, through my parents, my lineage, that allows me to navigate this situation here, and progress forward and really find what I'm looking for, right? So it feels like going into autumn here with this autumn harvest season here for you, group number 5. You're really finding yourself. You're harvesting this knowledge, this skill set, this gratitude here in order to progress and move your way forward, right? It's like this kind of just chills up here, and these are all kind of tying in together themselves, right? Where it's like, okay, we have all this creativity, this ambition, this new idea that we're finding because we have been in this void energy, and we're just kind of hearing this bird and finding our way through the darkness here. But it's very exciting. It's very dynamic. It feels very fun almost. That's not quite the right word I want, but I feel like enthusiastic. I feel curious. I feel very like, I'm like, what's going to happen? I need to figure this out. I need to keep going. I need to keep moving forward. I need to just keep going and going. I feel like I'm like fixated, right? And I just need to keep trying to find my way forward and keep moving through. And I'm not even like noticing the setbacks potentially here because, or like I'm tripping over some like a branch in the woods, and I'm just so like fixated on moving forward because I'm just like so excited. I'm just like so ready for this change, right? And I keep hearing this bird singing is in the void and this darkness here, and I'm just like, nope, we got it. We're figuring it out. So it's exciting energy here for you, group number 5. It was interesting how this reading progressed and moved through. And with this final card, the Void, it's just showing, really clarifying what we're dealing with, what we're going through here, right? But I think ultimately what we're cultivating here for you, group number 5, with the Septarian stone and this reading laid out as a whole, is cultivating excitement and passion with our King of Wands here, and doing it through gratitude and being excited for whatever comes next, even if it's a little bit like on the can, it looks a little dark and scary potentially because we're working with the void in the nighttime, but we know how to listen for the song of the birds because of everything we've been taught. So we can progress and move forward in a way that is very enthusiastic. So hopefully that made sense for you, group number 5. If you would like a personal reading for me, the links are going to be down below in the description box. You can go to my Ko-Fi page. Very interesting reading. I'm excited for you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your season here for fall, at least if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, spring if you're in the Southern. And that's all I have for you, friends. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are in space and time. And I'll see you in the next video.